Okay, I have got the bog wetland filter full. My liner overlap complete here with about a 6-foot wide weir to keep the water really thin coming over the top of that weir to keep as much in the bog as possible if the pumps ever have to shut down. And I'm just doing a little test here to see where things flow if my weir is level. And what I think I'll end up doing, big mess in here, you can't really see. I've taken apart and put together and taken apart this bits and pieces of this waterfall about 11 times. There's a bunch of rock work underneath this overlayment that I've peeled back so I can see how the water runs over the weir. I went and bought some flagstone. This is real thin stuff, kind of smaller stuff. This is really not the right product to use in my waterfall. But I think where I'll use it is maybe across this. It's real thin, so I can use it across the weir here as just like the stopping point. As you can see, the weir is not totally level. Not perfectly level because the water's not cascading across it, you know, perfectly. And I'm also just using about 2,500 gallons. I'm probably only pumping about 2,500 gallons over the weir right now. Whereas when I'm actually running this waterfall, it'll probably be closer to about 6,000. So there's probably 2,000 to 2,500 gallons being pumped right now. Once it's actually running, I'm probably closer to 6,000. So that will increase the thickness of the water coming over the falls. And I'm going to cascade it. I'm going to do I've got this vision. I built this up a couple different ways. I ended up removing, there's a couple big rocks that I actually removed from over here. You can't see right now because everything's folded back over it, but I got this vision for this kind of tumble down waterfall using stacked flagstone, but not like your typical like really boring like volcano stair step flagstone, like a lot of different angles and directions. It's going to look cool. I promise it's going to look really cool. I just have to go to the stone yard and buy more flagstone. And then hopefully my next update will include an actual functioning waterfall that doesn't just look like a mess of liner. Anyways, so the idea here is to have a nice wide weir up here so that the water is really thin so that if the pumps ever shut off, as much of the water as possible is retained in the bog. And then the same deal way over here where I've got a weir across here going into the cistern, because the thinner the water is coming over here and the thinner the water is coming over the weir over here, the fewer gallons I have to plan for being captured in that cistern when the pumps shut off, which means the less I have to plan for, the more of that cistern gets to get used for water storage versus empty space to capture water when pumps get shut off. So if I can use just like 100 or 200 or a couple hundred gallons of this storage space over here for capturing water when the pumps shut off, that means all the rest of that space gets to get used as water storage for for the summer months when it's not raining very much and keeping the pond full. If I didn't plan for that and I had real thick water going over the weir, if I had a really narrow weir, or had built it up really high that was going to drain down really low, then I'd have to use much more of that storage space for just for capturing water coming over the weir. So my goal was to reduce that as much as possible, so that as much of that space can get used, as much space as possible can get used for capturing and retaining rainwater. So that's just a little update. Again, not very exciting. Still looks totally ugly, but damn, it's getting closer. Oh, and my you can kind of see the PVC pipe under the water there. My DIY bulkhead fitting that I built over there is functioning beautifully for now. We'll see how it holds up over the years. If I ever get a leak back there, I'll probably just abandon it and go over the liner.